Hey, Mark, how are you today?
I'm great, Rick. Jeffrey, nice to see you
Mark,
both.
we could keep you here all day, I think, and do a few segments. We could talk about the Supreme Court for a while, then we could talk about McCourt and the Dodgers.
Yes.
And that offer, an old story of yours. So, you know,
We could do an update on Seglier and Facebook, but let's talk about the Supreme Court.
How are the Winklevoss brothers doing?
Okay. They're going to be pretty rich, even richer from the Facebook IPO.
Right.
Maybe we should do a show, The Best of Mark Furman.
Okay.
So, Mark, what's going on with this case?
Well, we've got to talk about the health care argument this week. 3 days, 6.5 hours of argument over 3 days. Unprecedented in my career.
All 80 years of it, is that what?
Despite my youthful appearance, right? But this is a fundamental case. This is a historic moment because it's about something that we've been debating since the beginning of the country. What's the power of the federal government versus what's the rights, what's left to the states? You know, this has been just forever, since the beginning. This has been
creation of the country, power of central power versus decentralized power.
That's right, right. And we started out with very decentralized power, and then we arrived at our Constitution, which has this federalist system, which basically says that the Constitution says the federal government has powers to regulate certain specific things. It lists them. And interstate commerce is one of them. War is another. You know, they're obviously involved.
Monetary.
That's right. But anything that is not specifically given to the federal government is reserved to the states. So that's the broad vision of the founders. Now you have to apply it to history as we go on decade after decade and century after century. So now the issue as framed by the challengers is, does the federal government have the right to order Rick and Jeffrey to buy health insurance? You know, can the federal government do it? There's no question that the Massachusetts healthcare law is constitutional. It's a power the states have. All the powers that aren't given to the federal government are reserved to the states. So this case, while incredibly important to our country, won't affect your health insurance if you're a Massachusetts resident. The Massachusetts healthcare law, Romney Care, whatever you want to call it, is unaffected by this decision. But nationwide, can the federal government force every citizen in the country to do it? And that's the fundamental question. And so on Monday, the question is, there was a threshold argument before the Supreme Court, which is, can the court decide the case now? Because there's something called the Anti-Injunction Act that says if there's a tax, if you want to challenge the legality of a tax, you've got to first pay the tax, and then you can challenge it. Now, the individual mandate in the healthcare law says you must buy insurance or you have to pay this penalty. They don't call it a tax in the law, but it doesn't go into effect to 2014. So the threshold question was, is the case too early? Does it have to be deferred until after the taxing goes into effect? Well, it seemed from the arguments on Monday that almost to a judge, they want to decide the constitutionality of the Health Care Act now.
Prior.
They want to decide it now.